Is your top talent teetering on the edge? One foot in your business, the other foot out the door. You're pouring hours into firefighting and people pleasantries only to watch your key employees slip away. What if you could flip the script, turning that back and forth into unwavering commitment? In today's episode, we will arm you with leadership strategies and simple systems that keep your people all in so you can hand off the day-to-day and get back to leading. Are you ready? Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to today's episode. Are you juggling the day-to-day operations and trying to keep employees engaged? Does it seem like your employees have one foot in the door and one foot out the door? You're constantly trying to pull them back into the organization, and it is draining you. It's draining your time. It's draining your resources. It's draining your energy. And when they leave, now there's a turnover cost. There's onboarding that you're going to have to worry about. Today, we're going to talk about how to identify those early warning signs, have a culture that people want to stay, and instill systems that create high engagement. So let's get into the content. The first one we're going to talk about is those early warning signs. So there's a couple things here. And remember, get out your journals, get out your pens. I want this to be an engaging listening session. I want it to be highly interactive. Make sure you're writing these techniques down. It's very important because there's going to be a challenge at the end. So early warning signs, what does that look like? If you've ever been around somebody that is not all in your business or in an organization, how do they act? What are they saying? How do they talk? How do they behave? They behave in a way where they're like, yeah, I don't know about this. I have some other opportunities that I'm looking at or exploring, or they may be even upfront and honest with you and tell you that they're looking for jobs or they're applying for other jobs. This is a red flag. This is something that it may start with one employee, but as that employee is integrated into the culture, and it may be a short-term employee or they may be a long-term employee that has reached their ceiling and doesn't see any potential for them, they will begin to degrade your culture. They will begin to get everybody else thinking about, is the grass greener on the other side? And as long as they're chasing that shiny new job, the shiny new salary, whatever that looks like, they are toxic to the organization. So there's some things that we need to do as leaders to nip this in the bud and to make sure that employees who do have one foot out the door realize that the grass may be greener on the other side. But this culture is something that you want to work in. And if you don't want to be here, thank you for your service. Thank you for the commitment that you've had to our company and our business, but it's time to go. And I will help you find another opportunity. So a couple applications here. One, this is a great question. And I was journaling this morning and I ask this question quite frequently. When I notice that somebody is just not there, and it may be that they've had a bad day, it may be that I've noticed they've had a couple bad days, even a week, where they're just not showing up like they used to. I love the question, what is draining you the most this week? What is on your mind? And it begins the conversation around maybe something's going on in their personal life. Maybe it's a work conflict that they're having. Maybe it's something that, they started on and you stopped, or we didn't have the budget to finish and it demotivated them. Whatever that is an excellent question to start that conversation. The other piece is, as people are looking for other opportunities, you will notice a decline in their productivity. And this is important, especially if it's a high performer. If they are meets or exceptional employee, you're going to notice when they start peeling back and maybe their work or their deliverables just aren't what they used to be. They're not as crisp. The presentations that they're delivering, you can tell that they didn't practice for, they just walked in, or maybe they're not following the systems that are in place, or they're just doing it just to keep by. There's people that I know that are very diligent and very proud of their work. And you will notice whenever they just start doing the minimums. And when they begin to do the minimums, that's a big red flag for you. So Take a 2-week span and start tracking any key performance indicators. Start tracking some things so that way you can have the conversation. And then body language and tone shifts. You will notice when body language changes. Before, when the employee used to walk by or stop and say hello or say good morning, now they just walk by and get their coffee and then walk out. Is there something going on? That's when you, as a leader or as a business owner, need to make sure and tap into that. I want to take a quick break from the episode today to talk about a couple things. The first thing, less than 40% of our listeners are subscribed to our channel. You would be doing me a huge favor if you click on that subscribe button. It helps us grow our Go Be Great community and get this podcast out to as many people as we possibly can. The second thing, are you a small business owner that is drowning in the day-to-day operations? You're delegating tasks and you're still doing all the work. You're experiencing a high turnover. Maybe you don't have the systems and processes in place that you need to run a successful business. I invite you to go over to thejohnespinosa.com, check out our live events, and sign up for our coaching program. Fill out the form to see if you're the right fit. Now back to the episode. So it's important for us to notice those nonverbals anytime they're avoiding us, anytime they're avoiding a conversation. Maybe it's a scheduled one-on-one that they keep on bumping down the road. Oh, I'm busy. Hey, do you mind if we miss our one-on-one this week or our weekly meeting? Or they stop, showing up earlier. Whatever they stop doing that's different from normal, notice that and address it. The second one, build retention first culture. Okay? Build a retention first culture. So how do we do this? We need to have purposeful alignment. That is a key trait of a good culture, is that things are in alignment. The other piece here, make sure that you have visible growth pathways. And we'll talk a little bit about how to make sure the visible part is there. And then last but not least, have some type of peer recognition process or system within your team, within your company. This is going to go a long way. And here's some applications that directly relate to these things. One, have a purpose refresh. Go back, especially if an employee has been there for quite some time. Maybe their values have changed. Maybe their home life has changed. Their purpose has changed. Their goals, their vision. You got to go back and revisit those things pretty often. I find a great way to do that is during your performance reviews. Just have a simple refresh on their purpose. Another way, career development plans. This is a way to have some long-term goals, have some short-term goals. It develops a pathway. And even if that pathway is not with your team and your organization, you figure that out pretty quick. That's an opportunity for you to get them to where they're going. I fully recognize that people aren't meant to work in the same place for the rest of their life. Very few people are career employees. They stay maybe 4 to 5 years, and then they're looking for the next opportunity. Help them get that next opportunity so that way you can do some of the work that we're getting ready to talk about, laying down the systems and training their replacement. And then the other thing here is have some type of shout out or some type of recognition system where they shout out each other. They shout out the work that they're doing. They give you feedback so you can shout out as a business leader or as a team lead or as a manager, whatever that looks like. Recognition goes a long way. The third one we're going to talk about is systems. We need to deploy systems that promote high engagement. And right here, we talk about onboarding. Turnover costs a lot of money. It wastes a lot of time. So have a structured onboarding program. Make sure that you write that stuff down. The second part, a delegation playbook. When you are not there, how does work get done? I can't tell you how many business owners put their head down, work really hard, get entrenched in their business, and then they're so entrenched, they don't trust anybody, and now they have to be there 24/7. That's not what I envisioned being a small business owner's life. So have a delegation playbook, and then have these feedback loops to where people can bring you feedback. You're asking questions. It can be anonymous. It can be one-on-one, whatever that looks like. It's important to have that feedback loop. So some applications here. When we talk about onboarding, I always like a 30, 60, 90-day plan. Where do you need to be at 30 days? Where do you need to be at 60 days? And where do you need to be at 90 days? Another way, I think with the delegation part, is to have how do you do your job standards operating procedures. A great way for people to document what they do, how they do it, feeds into your onboarding process, and it gives you a standardized system and process that if that employee does walk out the door, because remember, we're developing those employees, when they get to the point where they find that opportunity that they've been looking for, now you got a playbook. Now you got something to hand to the next person to say, this is how you do the work. It might not get done the exact same way, but at least you have a starting point. And then do some pulse checks. I really like to just survey some people, come up with 1 or 2 questions, send it out. They can reply anonymous or send it out and let them know, hey, think about these questions. At our next one-on-one, I'd like to talk about them. Simple, easy for you as a manager, as a business owner, as a team leader or leader to keep your finger on the pulse of the organization. So I hope this episode helped you today. If you found it beneficial, do me a favor, subscribe to our channel. Ring the bell. It will let you know anytime we have new episodes and give you these applications. Share it. If you found it valuable, share it with a colleague, share it with a peer. Let them know that they don't have to work through having an employee with 1 foot in, 1 foot out and feel like they're constantly trying to be the peacemaker or constantly trying to engage employees because, again, I said it before, we are here to help other people get to where they're going. And if it's not this organization, we need to help them move on because if we try to keep them in the organization, we try to make them happy, we give them bonuses, we give them raises, all of that may work short term, but long term, it's only going to prolong what should have been done in the first place. So my challenge to you is to take one of these strategies and implement it today. I hope this episode was helpful for you today. I believe in you. Go be great. Talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great. Talk to everyone later.